The National Green Tribunal on Friday asked authorities in 122 cities, including Delhi, which lack ambient air quality, to curtail registration of vehicles there if they do not have adequate parking space and instead upgrade the public transport system. A bench headed by NGT chairperson Justice Adarsh Kumar Goel said environment protection measures require that the number of vehicles in any city must be limited to the available parking space. The tribunal made it clear that the direction must be enforced not only for Delhi but for all 122 non-attainment cities which do not meet the national ambient air quality parameters in the country. The Green Panel asked transport departments of all states and union territories to assess the available parking capacities in the 122 cities and determine the number of vehicles which can be accommodated in the available parking space. On this edition of The Big Picture, we will analyze the NGT's decision to reduce vehicle registrations due to lack of parking. Joining me on the program today are Sudhir Krishna, former Secretary, Ministry of Urban Development, Government of India; Dr. Shiv Kumar Dubey, Senior Fellow, TERI; and Urmi Goswami, Assistant Editor, The Economic Times. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on this edition of The Big Picture. Mr. Krishna, let me begin the program with you. First and foremost, the NGT has come out with this particular observation that, we should not have any more registrations as far as these 122 cities are concerned because there's no parking space and it has a problem on the overall ecosystem. What do you make of the decision?
I think the decision in one way is right, and it is right to the extent that it highlights the problem of too many vehicles seen on the road and parked haphazardly. But it is other dimension also. Other dimension is that the discipline of vehicle parking has not been followed. It is causing not only air pollution but also causing traffic congestion and also causing road accidents because there is hardly any space left for people to walk on the road or to cycle on the road. Even driving car also is restricted, for which the road is made because of haphazard parking. So to the extent it is highlighting the issue of parking management, it is very much welcome. But I think a more scientific study is required for managing the vehicle parking, and perhaps more regulatory arrangements, laws have to be strengthened, enforcement of law has to be strengthened, but preventing purchase of vehicle by anybody and everybody without a proper arrangement for parking. Everybody need not own parking personally. There can be public parking where you can park the vehicle and show that you have purchased just like you own a house or rent a house, so you rent a parking space. That all should be possible. So I think the order has to be seen in a mixed manner. I would say that it should not be taken a unilateral order that it must be enforced without seeing left or right. We must see the totality of the spirit of the order is very good, but in implementation the legal and governance issues have to be involved. Then it will make life for people good, both the people who are owning the vehicle, who wish to own the vehicle, and the people who are suffering on account of too many vehicles on the road.
Okay, all right. Dr. Dubey, let me bring you to the picture now. The NGT also speaks about improving the public transport system as a whole. Now, of course, several of our Indian cities do not have the kind of public transport systems that we desire. But if we can take Delhi as an example, we have the 5th largest metro network in the world, over 350 kilometers of metro network in Delhi and its periphery. Yet, this problem of parking, this problem of, not having clean air to breathe and so on and so forth continues to exist. What is the crux of the problem?
The crux of the problem in Delhi especially is that though the public transport system is very good, but the last mile connectivity is absent. To substantiate that, DTC buses have done a very good job in last mile connectivity, but still in the present changed time, the safety of the passengers at late night or otherwise, it becomes very difficult. So this is the main problem which is coming for the implementation of the public transport adoption system. Though it is public transport system is overcrowded, in spite of that, this is the great problem.
Reducing the number of registrations, that's what the NGT has spoken about. Do you believe that is going to solve some of these major problems that are facing us?
Yes, this is a very good.
Is there any any study to show us that this has worked maybe elsewhere or something like that?
This kind of study has not done before earlier. But in principle, this is a very good decision, and this decision is going to bring results if certain measures are taken.
Okay.
If certain measures are taken for the registration of the new cars. People in Delhi are having more number of vehicles rather than they need it.
Okay.
They keep it for their hobby, their luxury tastes, and which are not necessary. Even then, they bring the cars and park in Delhi.
Right. So that also has to be addressed, is what you're suggesting. So
Next
that you
thing
can
is
reduce,
that next thing is that cars coming from other states, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, UP, those cars are registered there, but they are parked in Delhi. So there should be a very good scrutiny on this aspect, that whosoever has brought the car from other state should be charged some fees for that. That okay, if you are parking your car in Delhi, you should pay this much of an amount.
Okay. All right. Yes, Mr. Krishna. I'll just come to you, Urmi, just 1 second. You wanted to add something?
Yes, yes. Singapore has enforced this arrangement, and there are other countries also, that if you want to buy a car, then you must show where you will park your car. You should have a proper, authentic parking place. In other countries, it is like the cities have planned that there is public parking within the localities, within the mohallas, as we can say. There are public parking spaces, multi-story. So you don't have to own a parking space yourself, because you can't. In an apartment complex, there may be, not enough old complexes are there. So public parking space has to be created, and that is possible also. So NGT, as I said before, the NGT's order has to be seen in the spirit, but it should not be taken totally by the words. So the life will become miserable for people, because many people have got cars. Unfortunately, public transport, when it comes, it comes. In Delhi, life is not ending and beginning and ending in India with Delhi.
Absolutely.
Delhi has got metro, Delhi has got bus transport system.
But yet there is a problem.
Yeah, yet there is a problem. But what about small towns and medium towns? There is hardly any. Metro is, of course, a dream which may come in some time. But even bus services are not there in small towns. So people have to have their private transport. We are not talking only of cars. Motorcycles are also there. The life is, it is impossible for people to live without an automobile today. Walkability is not possible. Even for 1 kilometer distance, you want to have a motorcycle, if not a car, at least a motorcycle. You cannot walk 1 kilometer. Bicycling has become, a dream now. You can't bicycle safely on the roads. So there is a totality we have to see. Life can become good. We should say that people should have alternative means. On the one hand, there should be mass transportation systems like metro, buses, but at the same time, it should be possible to walk comfortably, safely, possible to bicycle some distances, 1 or 2 kilometers, one should be able to bicycle. That is how it should be seen.
Okay, better urban planning, maybe we'll come to that in just a bit. Let me bring in Urmi Goswami first into the picture. As far as an aspect that was touched upon by Shivkumar Dubey, he spoke about the issue of safety and the other aspect. Of course, let's not forget, it's good to have a good, robust public transport system, but you also need to have the safety measures in place so as to ensure that people actually use this public transport system. Now, how important is it to have a holistic system rather than just a public transport system?
Well, the thing is, it's a chicken and egg situation. You have a robust mass public transport system, you'll realize that more people will use it. The more people you have within the system, moving within the system, the safer it gets, because that basically means people's participation in the public space increases. Now, just a couple of things. One is that the NGT has asked that a study be undertaken. And this, stopping of registration of cars is like the end stage. So there is a bit of space between. Two is what the NGT order doesn't say or does not refer to is the fact that it is saying that you have adequate parking space. Today, Delhi doesn't have that many multi-level parking spaces. So the moment you do multi-level parking spaces or go to smaller towns, we are not just talking about Delhi, it's Delhi and 121 other cities and towns. You will realize that you can build your way out of this problem. The issue is not about that. What one hopes for is that this NGT order kind of gives an impetus to proper public transport. Now, you mentioned Delhi. and the fact that we have the 5th largest metro network. And yet if you take the metro map of Delhi and overlay it with the metro map of any other city, and by that I mean say cities in Europe or Japan which have strong mass public transport systems, you will realize that we are lacking. And what is that we are lacking? We are lacking in the lack of integration. We have a metro system, we are very proud of it, but we don't have buses. Delhi, by account of the Supreme Court, which is now almost 15 years old, Delhi needed about 12,000 buses. Delhi today has 3,000 buses, 3,000 odd buses, a few were bought. So let me be generous and say Delhi has 4,000 buses. That is 1/3 of what Delhi needs. How will you have a system which is safe, adequate, timely, reliable if you don't have a system in the first place? Most of these smaller towns, most of these 122 cities that we are talking about, leave Delhi out. If you look at the other sort of what we say the metros, you will realize most of them do not have a public transport system to speak of. So it's all great to say that don't allow new registration. How do you expect people to move? So one just hopes that this NGT order becomes the catalyst for the urban development, surface transport ministry to work with the pollution control board to come up with a plan. Look, even if you don't have metros are expensive, if you think about it, but you can have a great bus system. If you have a great bus system, you have already taken the first step towards reducing the amount of vehicular pollution, be it in Delhi or be it in the other 121 cities. So yeah, if you a holistic look, you can have a holistic look, but started with the lens of public transport, you'll realize that safety changes. See, if you knew that you could get out of your office at say even at 5 o'clock and get into a public transport system, any system, say part bus, part metro, part say you will walk, and you know that it's all reliable and you will see there'll be more people. It's predictable, you'll see there's more people. Who wants to be stuck in an hour-long jam on the road? Nobody wants.
Absolutely.
You'll have more people. The moment you have more people, the safety of that system improves. People will then take decisions to go out beyond their neighborhoods. Today, if you go to your neighborhood, say around 7 o'clock, I know most journalists don't have that opportunity to do it, but let's say even at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, you will realize that you'll see nobody. You'll only see cars whizzing past. Why? It's because there is no other way, and many more people who don't have cars or vehicles will not step out. So what happens now? Anybody who is working or living in any of these cities, one of the first decisions they make is I have to own a private vehicle. That could be a car or that could be a two-wheeler.
Safety first.
It's not safety,
But
it's
also
mobility first.
Convenience first.
It's not even that, it's necessary mobility. You do not have, just think back of the odd and even days. If you had a car which was not, and you weren't on the exempted list and it was not your day, you would have to rely on mass public transport. Even with, we are saying Delhi has good mass public transport, which, well, it's a comparative story, so I presume, yes, comparatively we are okay.
Compared to the other Indian cities,
Yes, compared to the other Indian cities, we are okay. But even then, it was a struggle. You had to budget extra time. That should not be the case.
Sure.
Travel to Japan, travel to any European city. You will not miss not having your private vehicle.
Sure.
You won't even call for a Uber, you won't call for a taxi. You can move around in mass public transport, unless they're on strike, of course.
Okay. So taking the discussion forward now, Mr. Krishna, so do you say at some level we need better urban planning as well going forward? Okay, we know the problems right now. We know what the problems really are. How can we improve them going forward?
The fundamental solution to this problem is urban planning. And urban planning in an integrated fashion. Now what has happened is that unfortunately we are having segmented planning from time to time. For example, we talk of solar energy, so there should be a solar energy plan for the city. And we talk of environmental plan for the city. Now these fragmented plans are not able to integrate, and even the implementing machinery is also very frugal, because for everything we don't have. There is a master plan for city, and the master plan for city should have different chapters. These are supposed to be integrated. So there is a transportation plan, there is an environmental plan, there is a water drainage plan, you know, there is a habitation plan, all must integrate. That is one. It's an integrate matter. But if you just pick out air quality and then say air quality, there should be a master plan for air quality improvement, it won't work. Because until there is a drainage plan for the city which is in place, until there is a transportation plan for the city, there is a habitation dispersal plan for the city, and so on and so forth, the business land use plan for the city, it won't work. So when NGT or any authority picks up, any ministry picks up any issue and makes a national mission, I feel little shaky. For the local issues have to be an integrated governance. That is point number one. And the second dimension is that we have to have regional planning also. We have to encourage the population and habitations to spread out. The more we are having a larger and larger cities if we have, then the issues of air quality will go on increase. We can hardly find a resolution. Now the real resolution lies in having smaller towns. You know, they should be well connected with each other and with the main city. Now if you can, you know, within Delhi, if you have to travel from one end to other end, spending 2 hours, you know, it will definitely, you are going to cause pollution. You cannot depend on public transport completely. If you are going from one end of the Delhi to other end, from home to metro station, then whether the other end the metro station is there or not, whether you take a cab or how do you go to your office and come back at odd time or whatever time it is, and you are fagged out completely by the time you don't want to. So better you take your motorcycle or car, and you know that is how so what the solution lies in allowing people, one of the solutions, not the only solution, small towns should be developed and they should be networked, integrated, like we have the regional rapid transit system. That is what we had mooted in our ministry, and now they are taking it forward. You know, National Capital Region Transportation Corporation is, you know, it has come into being. They are supposed to integrate Delhi with faraway cities, you know, 50 kilometer, 100 kilometer away towns, 150 kilometer away towns. You live there and come here. So that will reduce the pressure on cities, on large cities. So this is the second issue. And third is, I said before, that within the city we should be able to have alternative means of non-polluting transportation system. On one hand we have walkability system also, so you get down from metro, you should be able to walk half kilometer. You can't walk half kilometer. Roads are full of potholes and, you know, either official encroachment with this or unofficial and damaged roads. You can't bicycle, you know, you go to Europe, you go to Netherlands, so many cities. You park your vehicle at metro and your own cycle is in the cycle stand. You keep the cycle stand and take the cycle, go to your office, come back, park the cycle in cycle stand which is next to the metro station, and take the metro and go to your home. And that end also you have your own cycle parked at the station, you take cycle and reach home. Is it not workable? Does it not reduce pollution? If you don't do that, then definitely very many people will hesitate to take that. And thirdly, I will say that non-fossil fuel based transportation systems like electric vehicles, they have to be encouraged. In electric vehicle, of course, the planning is required. We can't simply say electric vehicle is panacea for everything. It has got its own difficulties of disposal of batteries and so on. That is another matter. But having taken care of that, if we take care of that, definitely the non-polluting sources of fuel are there, energy are there, which can, you know, drive the mobility solutions. And at the moment, I will say that the last point for the moment is that vehicular pollution is not the only cause for poor air quality. Vehicle is contributing maybe 20 to 25%. There are so many other issues are there. I mean, majorly I will say that the construction and demolition and other kinds of waste which the city is, municipal solid waste, which is, you know, not kept properly. You have heaps of solid waste which is flying all over the city, you know, along with the air, breeze, and is polluting the city. Nothing to do with the vehicular pollution. Vehicle may be slightly adding it to confusion. Then we have got construction and demolition waste.
Sure.
We have got so many issues are there, you know. So vehicle pollution should not be given so much as if, that is why integrated master plan of cities air quality, that is more important than merely talking of vehicles, you know.
Sure, certainly. Dr. Dubey, you know, as far as air quality is concerned, you know, like Mr. Krishna just pointed out, how we need an integrated plan. What more do we need to tackle this problem of air quality? Because there are several Indian cities that have terrible air.
As you have mentioned about the air quality, in Delhi and all other cities, the most important air pollution problem is the generation of the hydrogen sulfide gas from the drainage system. It is so high quantity of hydrogen sulfide or H2S is released that it corrodes the machinery, it corrodes your body, it damages your lungs, and a number of problems are created. Your air conditioning systems are attacked by hydrogen sulfide. The moment copper brazing is broken up and the freon gas or whatever air conditioning gases are filled into that, they go to the atmosphere and they also break the ozone layer. So this is one of the aspects I'll say that the drainage should be covered or it should be managed properly so that it doesn't pollute the environment.
Okay.
This is one of my points I will
Absolutely.
like
All right. Urbi Goswami, from time to time, several municipalities, several cities, have mooted this idea of having a separate bicycle lane, a separate, lane for buses, and several of these ideas keep coming up every now and then. But we don't seem to implement them. We don't seem to go through with them. What is the problem really? And will this really help?
So, as we all agree that there are several, pollution has many sources, and some big, some small, but by and large, many sources. Now, the problem is that you need a plan that addresses these sources, pollutants at source. But the problem with pollution is that you can have a national sort of vision, you can have a regional sort of a little more detailed plan, but finally, all these have to work together, but finally at the local level you have to do it. Now the bus lanes and cycle lanes or any such things, these vary from place to place. On a broad thing, we can, if you look at a broad template, we can say yes, if you have dedicated bus lanes, it actually makes bus systems more timely and predictable, and they move faster, they don't get stuck in traffic, so people will opt for them. That improves that as an alternative option for people, so it's a good idea. Now, every city may not be able to put in a dedicated bus lane. This is where I think we need to make one major change in the way we do things, and that is get the local authority involved. Now, we have the 73rd Amendment and we have had it for now more than 2-3 decades, but it has only remained so as, you have the elections to these bodies, but most places you don't know what they're responsible for. Most of them don't have that much financial leeway, nor do they have a part in planning. Now, to find these solutions, what works in a particular city or town, you need the people who are there right there at the grassroots. I can't plan from 100 kilometers or 1,000 kilometers away. So I think, yes, I can't make a blanket statement, yes, things work, but it depends on where you are. You have to make those changes. And you see, the changes have to be made in the way the roads are used, the way construction is allowed. You can have, like you have at this very moment on our statute books, rules and regulations for dealing with construction waste and construction and demolition waste, which is a huge source of pollution in North India, but across the country, because we are in a phase of building, and we will be in a phase of building for at least the next decade. And yet, if you actually go around and just do a very crude sample survey, you'll realize that most places do not observe these rules. Now, you have to get the local bodies in. That is who is able to see that implementation is happening, that those who are not implementing are punished. Those punishments will become exemplary.
Right.
If you realize that your neighbor who has been remodeling his flat without taking permission or without following the rules is punished, you will think twice about doing the same.
Sure.
It's a demonstrative effect. So I think the big thing here is that you want to deal with air pollution. Air pollution is not strictly one city or one town's problem. It's actually an airshed problem.
Right.
But you have to get the local authorities involved, because they are the ones who can be involved in the implementation, the enforcement, and the fine-tuning of maybe a broad problem, broad solution.
Sure. Okay. All right. Time now to get closing comments from all my guests. I'm going to ask you to be brief because we've got limited time. What's the best way forward, Mr. Krishna?
The best way forward is a good city plan, which should focus on certain outcomes. One of those outcomes should be air quality of the city. Every city should measure the air quality today, and what if the plan is implemented, what would be the air quality at the end of every year and end of 5 years, And that should be, to implement the plan, the local municipality must be fully empowered.
Okay, so have a goal and work towards it
Yes,
is what you're
work towards
suggesting.
the goal,
Okay,
yes.
all right. Dr. Dubey?
My point about the parking problem is that the requirement of parking should be clearly identified, and the obstructions coming from all other areas, like cars coming from other states, or the lack of parking, the new houses being constructed, they just construct the buildings for renting purpose. They should have proper parking space in each reconstruction of the same house.
Okay.
So these kinds of things should be carefully considered before.
All right. And Urmi Goswami, close the show for us with your concluding remarks.
Well, simply this, that we can take, we can no longer afford to take a silo or segmented view into a problem of air pollution. Not only that, we can't take a segmented and siloed view towards, improved living condition for our people. So that means we can't just focus only on air pollution. You have to focus on everything. And that means, if you are starting to look at how you plan your cities, how you plan your habitations, when you look at that, you have to look at all these aspects, whether it's air pollution, whether it's having more green areas, whether it's improved water, improved mobility. And once you plan that way, you will realize that if you work backwards, you will then realize the need for improved systems of mobility, the need for improved parks, and then the need for better systems of building, better systems of of road construction.
Right.
Once you do that, you'll realize that you're working towards not allowing the problem to arise, or at least having solutions to the problems if and when they arise. Right now, we are like in a situation that every alternate day one gets a scratch and you're looking at band-aids. You can't keep running around in band-aids. It's time to sit back and say, why is this kid constantly falling and getting scratched, instead of buying more and more band-aids?
Okay, so go to the root of the problem and address it from there is what